In the preview monitor, it's just so funny. It's like we look normal, and then there's Jesse, the silver.
Welcome to another edition of the show that comes around once every couple of months. It's the BarDown Podcast. DZ here with Luca, Corwin, and Tin Man, Silver Surfer. What are we going by here?
Tin Man, for
Going
sure.
by the Tin Man. I'm the Tin Man.
But you were a statue.
I was a statue.
Down at the square.
Yes, at the
Maple Leaf Square.
In the mall.
There was a human hockey statue at Queens subway station.
In my apartment for a little bit.
And he found out how to play with heart.
No. The Leafs ripped my heart out with that big W.
The big W he's referring to is the big W in Game 5, because you could be watching this at any point.
Yeah, and you can think any W because they're going to have a lot of W's going
Oh, man,
forward.
please mark
They
this
could be
down.
like, which one? There's so many. There's 16.
Yep,
How
there's
can you choose?
The
from
most
those?
humble.
Don't worry. Really. And we're going to get it. He's revved up.
in their brains?
He's revved up and we're ready to go. But before, I'm going to lay a bit of some groundwork here. We're going to talk about a bunch of stuff because it's a little bit more of a shake-up in how we do things. So don't worry. We're going to start on a main topic to really kick things off. And then from there, we're going to get into some Don't Think, Just Tweet. You might remember that if you watched the Under Review series.
I thought we were doing loser point.
We are doing that. Thank you for skipping to that. That's at the very end. And then we got some weird-ass internet finds at some point as well, just in the middle there. But for now, you're licking your lips way too much, pal.
Buddy, I got mustard everywhere.
Just trying to get a second bite.
And apparently this paint is edible. That's what the guy keeps saying today.
I really hope so. The main topic we're going to chat about, which I can tell Corwin's just feasting to start on with his bib. Luca should have a Leafs
Wait.
bib.
I got a quick question here. And it's not what you think.
It's exactly what you think.
Is there anything better than round one of the NHL playoffs?
Oh, okay.
What's the 8-ball say?
No way!
That we can all agree on.
Yeah, that we can all agree on. Here's one thing we couldn't agree on, which was a bit of the title of this video. You guys wanted to... I'm just going to say I was against this. I'm just going to go ahead and say it's a little harsh. But you want to talk about who are the biggest frauds so far?
Frauds.
Frauds in round one. I mean, I'm going to say pretenders, but you know what? Frauds, pretenders, whatever word you want to use. Feels
we want
harsh,
to use fraud.
but you want to use frauds. That's
your name
fine.
on it.
Imposters.
So I'll tell you what, people don't come here for level-headed, astute analysis. They come for the fire.
Is there anything level-headed in this picture right now?
Well, exactly. That's why we were talking the frauds.
Frauds or pretenders, doesn't matter.
Frauds.
Jesse, you look like you're going to have to take that paint off soon, so why don't you get us started? You'll be
Look.
motivated to get to the point.
There's actually quite a few frauds in the playoffs. But if I'm going to go with my number one fraud team, it is, and this might be controversial because some people are going to say, oh no, it's this team, but I think it is hands down the Florida Panthers. I mean, you talk about a President's Trophy team that was so explosive offensively, high-powered. They can barely squeak out wins in the playoffs right now. I get it. Washington is a veteran team, but every year it seems like Washington is just a quick out in the playoffs. It just looks like Florida doesn't really know what they're doing out there. Yeah, they've had like a game where they scored 5 goals or whatever, but like they're not really scoring goals with that much ease. Even if you're out shooting your opponent by a lot, like you got to start scoring, Florida. Like they just have not looked like nearly the best team in the playoffs. Honestly, I was going to tweet this, but I didn't want to be too gutless to Florida, so I'll just say
But you
it
wanna
on the
call
Panthers
people
because I'm calling them a fraud.
Calling the best
Panthers.
team of the frauds.
The Panthers, I really love you, and I took so many of you in my fantasy pool. Maybe this is where it's coming from, but you've been playing like frauds, and it's time to pick it up because I kind of hope that the Jets never win the President's Trophy.
Spectacular how you somehow work the Jets back into that. Anyways, Corwin, who's your biggest pretender or fraud?
I might steal Lucas here because I'm going with the
Damn.
team that I called frauds already earlier in a podcast.
And then backed away from.
What do you mean?
Oh, if you're saying who I think.
The New York Rangers.
Yeah, but then you were in on them later, weren't you?
I wasn't in on them. What do you mean?
I thought you liked their deadline acquisitions.
I did like their deadline
Okay.
acquisitions.
I thought you softened your stance.
Well, that was never recorded is the key.
Oh! Is it recorded up here?
Doesn't count.
That's
Recorded
the
out here.
benefit
Doesn't
of
count.
doing not a lot of podcasts.
Yeah.
is I can let my takes age well. So they've been fraudulent, okay? They've been a fraudulent team for pretty much the whole year. They've been carried by Shesterkin. They're just a team that relies so much on high shooting percentages, high save percentage. If you're going through stats, PDO is just crazy. I watched a lot of New York Rangers hockey this year. They got outplayed consistently, and they're getting outplayed consistently by the Penguins.
Game 4 was like insane. Did you guys see the win probability meter that they had on Money Puck there?
You could probably share it for every game.
I mean,
It was insane.
The
though.
craziest Money Puck one was the overtime game, the first game. It was still 90-10 in favor of the Penguins in that game.
Either way, just sticking on goaltending, like the fact that in that series, their Pens, they go all the way down to their third goalie. And no offense to Louis Domingue, I'm not calling anyone frauds on this goddamn show. But the fact that he is the goalie who's done better from between him and Shesterkin is like insane.
And I mean, it's not by much.
Insane.
Like, his goals against is still above
Still,
3.
man.
I
At
know,
all.
but that's
At
how
all.
badly the Rangers have played in front of Shesterkin.
I owe you money because of this.
Yeah,
you don't know that. You don't know that yet.
Hey, you don't know that.
Spoken like a man.
You do not know
Spoken
that.
like a man who might owe some money of his own.
Listen. Based on everything you just said, I don't know if the Rangers are really as fraudulent as.
Come on. He's not a fraud.
don't
call
say
him-
that.
Don't, come on.
He's been playing.
You can have a bad series.
definitely not a fraud.
That's been the whole
No, no.
thing that we've always said, because that just happens.
'Cause
so
that happens.
well.
And that doesn't make you a fraud.
What it comes down to, I think in this series specifically, and like you can say it's cliche, but like experience. And guys, little do you know.
Let
Little do
me
you
ask
know.
you something. Let me ask you something. Is Andrei Vasilevsky a fraud? Because I bet you his save percentage is pretty similar.
He's
to
allowed
Shesterkin's.
3 goals in every game this series, 3 or more goals.
Shesterkin's been playing like a fraud.
I'm telling.
He's not a fraud.
Would you say the same thing about
But then,
Vasilevsky?
come on. Then fraud's not the right word. Then. He's not a fraud.
they are just getting
he's not a fraud.
caved in by the
At least
Penguins.
The
Vasilevsky-
Penguins are unbelievable.
Yo,
Yeah.
Sidney
They're
Crosby is unbelievable.
And that's
Like,
the thing,
oh my
but like,
God,
it
he
kind of
is-
comes down to a lot of like experience. Like I had a 17-minute phone call with Jeff Buchman about this a few days ago. Not a big deal.
Wow,
but
that's
shit.
actually sick.
We talked
a
for a
long
long
phone
time.
call.
Full time, he
like-
was just like, "Who is this again?"
No, and I was kind of just
Love to talk
explaining,
hockey,
like,
but who
like
are
we were just discussing, like, you know, like obviously he loves the Rangers.
He's a
and
Ranger
stuff.
scout.
Exactly. I was just thinking about it when we were on the phone. Like, it just comes down to experience. Like, look at the Rangers. They have such little playoff experience on that team. They've got a couple guys like Barclay, Goudreau, or whatever, but like their best players, like some of their young guys, they have no experience. Their goalie,
I just don't. I don't think like when
yeah.
you look at this series though, experience is the thing that's
In a hot me-
imploding
bro.
the Rangers.
Bro,
I think just they're
Crosby,
not. Come on.
Malkin,
Experience plays a part.
Letang, these guys
But
have been
but it's
there.
depth.
the reason
I-
they're
it's depth.
losing?
No, but it's a mixture
So
of things. It's a
they're-
mixture.
well,
It's
it's
depth
Not on
and
the
experience.
level of the Penguins.
Because of depth.
I mean, I think partially it's that people underrated the Penguins all year.
Not this guy.
No.
No,
Okay.
you
No.
accidentally picked them.
Okay.
We're moving on to, if you watched Under Review, show Corwin and I did a little while ago, we had a section called Don't Think, Just Tweet. So I'm going to go one by one to all of you. You're going to have your own prompt, and you have to give me a tweet that encapsulates your thoughts or your argument on that point. Then we can discuss it a little bit. So don't worry, you'll have your chance to speak, but let the person formulate their tweet. And remember, don't think, just tweet. Jesse, you do that all the time, so this will be perfect for you.
I did it one time.
One
This
time.
guy-
Mark
guy-
Scheifele's a good guy.
One time. I still stick by that tweet. Everyone, 2 days later, was like, oh, yeah, like, let's feel bad for Mark Scheifele because they're all going after his family. I'm like, yes.
Don't
Habs
worry, we'll cut
fans
this.
are-
All right, Jesse, your prompt. Realistically, how far do you see the Leafs going if they do win in round 1?
That's a good question.
Be
God,
honest.
I absolutely hate to say this, but I think they're going to the cup.
This guy's giving me crap.
Not winning. Yeah, I'll give you crap.
This guy was cheering in the chat. He was like, "Yay!"
I'm
You know
happy
what?
for
You know
my
what?
friends, okay?
No, sorry.
No, you're not.
Sorry.
Red Wings.
No, I'm rephrasing.
and Leafs fans.
I'm rephrasing. To
No,
the-
there's
to
no
the
edit button on
no,
Twitter.
I'm deleting
Not
the
yet.
tweet, which I should have done with the Scheifele tweet right away.
That didn't take long.
And I'm actually going to say conference final because in my heart, I think that if the Leafs play the Penguins, they're not winning that series. Oh, and on another note, I'm going to say this. There's not a doubt in my mind that the Jets should have gone a guaranteed first-round pick for Andrew Kopp. To think that Brandon Hagel
enough of that.
went for 2 first-round picks and we couldn't get
How
the guaranteed
how
first-round pick
quickly
for Kopp.
the Hagel
No.
thing has turned.
The fact they gave up 2 for Hagel when Andrew Kopp has been a monster producer the past couple years, goes to the Rangers on their top line, producing,
we
playing
get
with
here?
Artemi.
What do you mean, how do we get here? This guy always talks about the Jets.
No, I'm just saying, it's a
I
joke.
like this is a very good good like taste of Jesse's Twitter feed. Like,
There's an excellent one.
It's coming off the dome. You know?
Well, we're gonna go to your
100%.
Twitter feed, Corwin. Your prompt: what player has shocked you the most in the first round for good or bad reasons?
I'm going positive here. I'm absolutely buzzing tonight, and I'm not going to say anybody but the Leafs because that's not surprising. The team's an absolute unit.
You got a bib on.
But my tweet is Sidney Crosby just doesn't age. Every single year, people write this guy off. You know, he's getting older. We talk a lot about Ovechkin and how much he's consistently scoring still and things like that. Crosby's been an absolute horse in the playoffs so far.
But bro, are you really surprised by that?
You're now talking about the Penguins as being like potential cup favorites. Who's the person that's really driving that? It's Sidney Crosby.
Don't forget about Jake Gensel. They also have Malkin.
They're all great. No, I'm just saying they have a great team. But all I'm saying is that Crosby's looking like vintage Crosby, and I love it.
Coming into the playoffs, where would you have had him in your best players conversation? Like, where does he rank for you?
I don't think he's top 10.
Like, coming into the playoffs.
Yeah,
that doesn't surprise me that he'd be outside
and
of
now
some
he's
people's
probably
top 10s.
arguably been the best player in the first round.
I don't know about that. Like there's Cale Makar and stuff like that.
Okay. Makar's been the best.
How about top 3?
No
Will you give him top 3 then?
For sure.
Okay.
I will quote tweet you and say,
nice.
Crosby's been great, but how about that Jake Ottinger guy?
Ooh, that's a
Over
good
in
one.
Dallas.
That's a
Surprising
very good
for
one.
sure.
He's been a stud.
All right, Luca, your Twitter prompt: what team do you think ends up with Barry Trotz in the end?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Guy got canned. What? You laughing? I say canned?
No, I'm laughing at the fact that he better go to the Jets.
I was gonna say.
Well, you know, it's Luca's tweet though. Let's let him speak.
Oh my god.
Luca's tweet.
I was gonna say I was really happy you didn't give this one to him.
Yeah,
Well,
well,
all I've heard the entire time
Billy.
since that news broke was just him going, he's got to go to Winnipeg.
Every analyst has said it. Like, everyone's just like, he's from Manitoba. He's going to Winnipeg. He's coming home. Like, I think that's my tweet. Hashtag he's coming to your Winnipeg Jets. Like,
Wow!
Yeah, I think it'd be a good
quote.
This guy's, by the way, this is never part of the rules, but he's quote tweeted 2 things now. But whatever.
Because I actually wanted, like, if Steven's doing this, it pains me to say, but if the Leafs blow this series, do they fire Sheldon Keefe and aggressively pursue Trotz?
I mean, I think it's a move you have to consider if you could get Barry Trotz in there.
Yeah, my thing is, like, literally any team that has a coaching vacancy should be
go after
going
him.
all in on this guy.
We got 2 more left here. So obviously Montreal, they won the draft lottery. Jesse, this one's for you. Shane Wright being a Hab makes you feel...
Really happy. Honestly, let's make the Canadian teams as good as they can be. The country needs a Stanley Cup except for the Leafs, and I just want to see Canadian teams be as competitive as possible, and I think that he's joining a really exciting core with Cole Caulfield and Nick Suzuki. Come on, let's go.
Quote tweet, can you actually say Canada needs a cup, but then also say, but accept the Leafs?
No.
Reply
If you're-
yes.
Yeah,
with a smiley face.
Yeah. All right, Corin, we're going to end it off with you.
Wait, I want to say one thing. So one thing I saw somebody tweet is that they threw out a little proposal. If you were a Habs fan, would you be cool with the Habs offering the New York Rangers the first overall pick for Alexei Lafreniere? That French-Canadian connection.
Yeah.
I say no.
No.
From whose side?
Montreal's.
Are you guys already pretty down on Laugh?
I'm not down on him, but I don't think he's done enough to ruin what you could have in Wright.
I'd agree with you. My only thing is, obviously, none of us are Habs fans, and I don't know. Like, obviously, there is something special to them about having that French-Canadian guy. So
For sure.
The only reason it was interesting to me was because, like, I wonder if Habs fans do think, like, maybe. So let us know.
Last one. Corin, this one's yours. What has been your favorite soundbite thus far from the playoffs?
Ooh, it's got to be Daryl Sutter or something. I loved. Somebody asked Daryl Sutter a question.
See the comments from John Klingberg last night?
And he just goes,
Nah. Whatever.
"You gotta love that guy.
the
you know?
coolest.
He's the coolest
He is
guy.
the coolest.
Brings us to our next little segment here. I know it would be fun every time we go into a podcast. You guys know, Cor and I, we're bin boys.
In both of their heads.
We like looking for weird stuff on the internet. No one has to buy this one, and you couldn't even afford it if you wanted to.
Oh,
What brings
damn.
us
I
to
would
this
love to
week's
buy this.
week's weird ass internet find of the week. What you are looking at is a Mel Harwood 1930s game worn used referee sweater. sweater. It's a cardigan. No, it's a pullover. Thanks for noticing. It'll only cost you $16,864.91. What's the historical meaning behind it, you might ask? Well, he just happened to be the ref in the 1942 Stanley Cup Playoffs, which, Corwin, if you know your Leafs history here, I don't know if you do, maybe I'm putting you on the spot, but it was the first team in professional sports to come back from 3-0. This man had his face beat in from Jack Adams.
Wait, what? The ref?
The ref. Yeah, he did.
That's so boss.
I just found another old ref jersey from the 30s for $29,500.
Wow, Luca just absolutely dominated you.
Well, because
Wasn't good enough, eh?
me and Eric rep at the Square. I was curious.
Whose is that?
Silvio Mantha.
Is that
I don't
Anthony
know.
Mantha's dad?
Maybe.
How old's Anthony Mantha?
You'd have to be pretty
Probably
old for that to be true.
No, I mean, the reason why I checked was because me and Eric ref at the Square. I would love to buy an old school ref jersey and show up with that one day. That would be cool.
Buy two. It's only a quick $45K.
So that was 3 periods action. Brings us to OT, which brings us here. Everyone's favorite thing, the loser point. You guys, you like talking about just random things that have nothing to do with the topic. This guy loves leaning back unprofessionally before we're done podcast. But anyways, each of you get 1 point to end this show on. There's no debates here. You get to just say one last point to the camera.
I think the Lightning have got the Leafs exactly where they want them. We've seen this with the Leafs many times. Up in a series, fans are feeling confident, like they're going to go to the next round, and then they just lose. And I think there's no doubt that the Lightning are going to win Game 6, and then I think because they're the more experienced team and the better team, they're going to win Game 7, and I stand by it.
Okay. All right. Corwin, loser point.
I'll just say my loser point. It seems different.
Okay. Luca.
No, it's not.
All right. Anyone that watched the Colorado and Nashville series and still comes away from that series and thinks Roman Josi is the best defenseman this season is out of their minds and should not watch any more hockey, because Cale Makar is far and away the best defenseman on the planet. He should run away with the Norris Trophy and probably is one of the 3 best players in the world if he continues playing the way he has in the playoffs.
My loser point, if there's any skincare brands that are looking for brand partnership deals, you're looking at it right there, because he's in for a doozy.